Hello and welcome to the Polka Dot Apple. Hello, I'm Sarah Jane and I'm a teacher and blogger living in the Bayside suburb of Melbourne. Welcome, and if you have been here before, welcome back. Today I'd like to talk to you about read aloud books that I currently am using and loving when I'm teaching junior grades. I'd like to talk today about something that's very near and dear to my heart, and that is developing a love of books and reading with children. As a parent, I used to make sure that I read every night to my daughter, as well as heard her read. So often when children reach a certain age, whether that be 7 or 8, parents somewhere along the line forget to read to their children. And I know we're all so busy, and I know it's a very hectic time of night, but I just think children need to hear good sentence structure, develop their vocabulary, increase their vocabulary, and just learn to love books. And the best way you can do that is to do it with a family situation. I also enjoy doing it in the classroom. It's one of my greatest joys. Every day I read to my children out loud, whether that be picture books, whether that be chapter books, whether that just be talking about different characters in books. So I would like to share with you some of the chapter books that I read in junior grades to entice children into wanting to hear reading. I find that if you show enthusiasm and a love of books and make books come alive by talking about characters as if they're walking around us, then children also develop that love and actually request to have the stories read to them. I love it when children bring books in from home that they're reading with their family, whether that be a picture book or a chapter book. Picture books that come in are often hilarious, and I hear the backgrounds about, the dads that read them in a funny voice, or mum that can read them in a Scottish accent, and why they love a certain book. And it's usually because they have read it as a family and because they're laughing about something that's happened in it. There are certain books that I have read to children over the years that without fail hook children in, and they're the ones that you can come into the room and you could hear a pin drop, and they are literally on the edge of their seats waiting to find out what's going to happen. And I'd like to show you some of those books now. Without doubt, the most popular series of books that I ever read to students in, I'd say, Prep to 2 are the Faraway Tree books. These are my original, these are the vintage ones that I had as a kid, and you can actually see I've written my name inside. Sarah Jane Fry was my maiden name, grade 2A. And these were mine when I was growing up. These books have been read and read and read and reread by myself initially. Then I read them to my daughter lovingly, and I still cannot believe how engaging these books are for young children. There are many, many, many other books that Enid Blyton has written. The other ones that, of course, are always a big hit are the Wishing Chair ones. I loved these as well, but of course, Faraway Trees. Those books, of course, are now available in the larger versions with the pictures that you can show, to your class. But I do find it's not necessary. They do enjoy just listening to this book without the pictures themselves and create the images in their head. This version of the series, of course, also has a slight alterations with names that are in the book. If you are readers of the original series, you'll know what I'm talking about. In terms of engagement, you cannot beat the Faraway Tree series. Other books that I share with younger children, we are currently reading, and that's why I don't have the actual first book here, the Paddington series. This is also to another British series, and beautiful sentence structure, very, very funny. The children are rolling around laughing. I've got the first book, excuse me, and that one is called A Bear Called Paddington. And of course the stories are hilarious. He's always getting into all sorts of troubles, and with the recent movies that have just been released, the children are even more eager to hear about different stories regarding that lovable bear. So I highly recommend the Paddington series. I couldn't possibly mention read alouds without talking about Harry Potter. All children are absolutely fascinated with Harry Potter. They find just the whole notion of going to a wizarding school fantastic. Of course, we all do. I love Harry Potter as well. Most of them have seen at least one movie. The best book I feel for junior grades is the first one, possibly wouldn't read it below grade 2. I read Harry Potter to my class last year in grade 2 and they loved it. They love the characters and they're very familiar with the characters, of course Hagrid, and the younger children particularly love the notion of the Dursleys getting their comeuppance. And another book which contains one of my favourite characters of all time is Charlotte's Web. Charlotte's Web is a book that I often read to junior grades. This book I had when I was in year 7, the pages are coming out. This is truly a children's classic. It is one of the most beautifully written books. The descriptions of the seasons and Charlotte and Wilbur are possibly one of my 2 favourite characters in books of all time. Amazing. Every time I read it, I always end up crying. And there are 2 parts of the story where I cry. At the end of the fair, I'm not going to tell you what happens. And of course, the last line of the book. Oh my goodness, if you haven't read it, please do so. Another book that I have read with younger children, which doesn't take that long to read, is The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane. This is about a rabbit, I don't know if you can see him there, who's a very vain rabbit who goes on a miraculous journey, funnily enough. I enjoy reading this book because he does grow very obviously. Starts off as a very vain rabbit who then evolves into something who's a little bit more humble, I guess. And the children do enjoy this one. They have very much enjoyed that one. I couldn't mention Read Alouds without talking about Roald Dahl. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, James and the Giant Peach would be the 2 that I would probably read the most. I also thought it'd be interesting to hear from students which books they enjoyed listening to in the classroom, which ones resonated with them, and which ones they remember listening to. So I interviewed my 2 nieces in the holidays, so I'm going to insert that now, and you can hear which books they've enjoyed listening to in the classroom, also which books they're loving reading now, and which ones they remember listening to when they were younger. I thought it was really interesting watching them talk about books and characters. So I'm going to put that in now. Hi, I'm Sarah Jane and I'm a teacher in a Bayside suburb of Melbourne, and these are my 2 lovely nieces who I have asked permission to borrow. This is Harriet.
Hi everyone.
And this is Lisa.
Hello.
And I thought it would be lovely to interview them about their favourite books, whether it be picture story books or novels that they've enjoyed reading with a teacher in their classroom. So this is Harriet. How old are you, Harriet?
I am 10 and I'm in grade 5.
And how old are you, Lisa?
So
Go ahead, how old are you?
sorry. So I'm 7, I'm turning 8 in March. So and I'm gonna go in grade 3 next year.
This year?
This year, yeah.
Alright, so let's start with you, Lisa. What's one of your favourite picture books or what series that you love to read in your classroom?
Okay, so number 1, I really like Pig the Pug.
Oh, Pig the Pug, it's so funny, isn't it? And the pictures are really cute.
Yeah. And then I also like Possum Magic.
Oh, that is a classic Australian book. Classic Australian book. And yes, written by
Mem Fox.
Good girl, well done. Yes, beautiful pictures. And it's just recently had a big anniversary, yes.
Yeah.
So, now, what about, do you have any picture story books that you particularly like?
Well, I don't have picture story books, but I have novels that have like coloured pictures in it. So all the faraway trees, so the 4 ones, I have the...
You have the big versions of the faraway tree?
the big ones with the big pictures and like the writing and...
Keep going. So in recent times they've actually altered some of the names of children. For example, there was a school for naughty pixies and fairies, and it was run by a lady called Dame Slap. And in recent times they've changed that to Dame Snap. So it's some of it has been...
I also have the famous 5, which is also by
Enid Blyton was a prolific writer in...
yes.
A prolific...
I had the whole
British
series.
writer.
I had the whole series.
Oh, so lucky. Alright. Okay, so what other books are you currently enjoying? Oh, I know another book that you read last year that is one of my all-time favourites.
Yeah, that was Charlotte's Web. I read it in grade 4 for a novel. Yeah, last year we read Harry Potter. We read the first and the second one in the jumbo, the big book.
I also love Harry Potter too.
And now I have the second one, she has the first one, because we really like the big ones, because the big ones have the like really good pictures. So if you don't really get it that much, there might be a picture. And another read aloud we read was Page Master, and this one's. And we always used to because there's different characters, we always used to use their voices and read it ourselves.
The other one, this one here, what about this one here?
Oh yes, and in grade 2 we also read Paddington, one of the classical favourites of mine.
Yes.
Yeah, we just read the first one, it was really fun.
And we recently went to see
Paddington 2.
Yes, and we loved that too.
Very good. It's very good. I guess you guys should go watch it. It's really good.
Cute. All right. Okay. So, do you have favourite characters?
Well, one of my favourite characters is Hermione from Harry Potter, and my other one is Wilbur and Charlotte. So Charlotte's so nice to Wilbur, and when she makes a promise, she doesn't break it. And Wilbur is just so funny.
He's very sweet, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's always
he's
so
very
humble. It doesn't. All the fame doesn't go to his head, does it?
Yeah.
He's just lovely.
And he shares with the rat. I forgot his name. Templeton. Yes.
Yeah. All right, so would you like to share what books you're reading currently? You go first, Lisa.
Okay, so I've been reading Wonder, and there's a movie that
which is, of course, very popular at the moment. And so the main thing I think about when I read this book, and which I talk to you girls about, is the biggest takeaway, of course, is to be kind, isn't it? Kindness and compassion. And that's what I always used to say to my daughter, and I say to you, we have to be kind and compassionate. Yes.
Maddie.
Okay, let's say hi, Maddie.
Hi, Maddie! So the book I'm reading is The Awful Auntie by David Williams, and it's a winner of the National Book Award, and it's the hilarious #1 best-selling by David Williams, so he's a really good author.
David Williams, yeah.
And one thing that I love about it, the auntie used to
do awful things.
To do awful things to his.
So the other night, Harriet was reading out some of because I hadn't read this book, she was telling me about the things that the auntie had done. Would you like to say a couple of them?
Yeah, so she used to peg him to the washing line and let him dangle there all afternoon, which is actually pretty cool. Chopped down a tree when he was climbing it. I think he would probably break his arm or something like that.
Yeah.
Replace the candles on a birthday cake with sticks of dynamite.
Yes.
Play hide and seek with him. The auntie would let the boy hide and then go on holiday. very.
And after she read this to me, I said, I'm pretty good right about now. We just thought we would come on and share some of our favourite stories and read alouds for the classroom. So thanks for stopping by. I really hope you enjoyed this quick interview with my lovely nieces. If you haven't already, please subscribe, hit the like button
and turn on your notifications so that you don't miss any of our aunties' videos, which are epic.
Okay. Hope to see you again. Bye for now. Bye.
Bye. Don't do that because then it makes a big noise.